since we did bring up the Cubs, it would be remiss on our part not to bring up the you all right? The other elephant in the room, that would be Willson Contreras and his comments and subsequent tweets that really point to, I think, an obviously fractured Cubs locker room and a crisis of leadership, whether that goes to the manager or whether it goes to the team leaders. Typically pointed at as, Willson himself, Javy Baez, of course, Anthony Rizzo, Jason Hayward. It seems to be we almost see the lines of a civil war drawn in the Cubs locker room where
I want your civil war.
thank you for the Guns N' Roses.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
The comments by Willson Contreras were understandable. The frustration levels. I have a lot of issues, and I think you do too, that we can poke holes in.
I think he should have just stopped.
Should we say what he said?
Yeah,
we need to describe what he's. You got it right there. Yeah,
I got it right there because
perfect.
It's too much of a gem.
Yeah,
this is not. There's a point where I have no problem with the statement.
Yeah,
and it's up to the first sentence pretty much, and then after that is when I think he kind of went too far. We have to win as a team, but also I cannot ask. Oh, whoops! I fucked it up. Let me try that again. Contreras said that everyone was distracted, probably because of the All-Star break. He had commented on that, which you could kind of whatever.
That's weak.
So then he says we have to win as a team. Okay, cool. But also, I cannot ask everybody to play like I do or to play like Baez and I play.
And that's where it gets really weird.
And that's where it gets really weird to me too. And that's where, man, you have just you to me, that's a comment you make when you don't want to be on a team anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And we speculated about that last week, even with what the Cubs might look like in the future about the trade-off, or after, what kind of free agents they're going to try and sign, or what players are going to re-sign. It's kind of Cubs fans are making it a given that they're going to re-sign Willson Contreras. But if everyone is gone from this team, why would he really want to re-sign with the Cubs? And like you said, he's starting to make it sound like he doesn't really have much of a desire to be around anymore. I thought his comments would be, I mean, especially those two sentences, they don't make any sense to give to the media. Why is he saying that in public? What good is that going to do other than to divide the locker room, to set you and apparently his best friend Javy Baez apart from the rest of the team? He literally called out everyone else on the roster besides those two, himself and Baez, and he might even be right. He might be totally vindicated by what we see going forward, or what is really happening, which we'll never really fucking know. But
right,
what's the point? The only thing that those comments can do is to create division. I mean, literally, he made the dividing line, him and Baez and the rest of the team, and very, very strange. Understandably frustrated. I could see why he's frustrated.
Yeah, no doubt. Agree.
It just, and he's an emotional dude, and you actually kind of appreciate the honesty. But from a team perspective, I actually agree with David Ross. He's like, we need to keep those things in house, which is kind of overstating the obvious. I'm not sure that that was necessarily a terrible reprimand from Rossi on Willson Contreras, other than just basic common sense, because his comments did not help. They're not helping at all. So
yeah,
they might be totally accurate. Maybe the effort level is higher with those two, and
yeah, maybe. I mean, like I don't disagree that he plays his ass off, and
he does.
But Baez also got pulled for a game for freaking running and loafing and not paying attention. So
I think you can say, and I think I've heard other people use this same number, but 99.5%. I think it was Waddle. 99.5% of the time, Javy Baez is busting his ass, and then it's just those few times where he doesn't. It's so glaring. So yeah,
Yeah, and that's probably why it's so glaring because he busts his ass all the rest
exactly.
of the
Yeah,
time. So
that's a really good point. So yeah, I mean,
I mean, he could.
again, my point isn't to tear those two down. My point
No, no,
is
not at all. No, no.
say
I mean,
what are we doing here? Things are already shitty enough. What we're just throwing gasoline on the fire.
well, you're making we have to win as a team. Well, you just alienated the team.
Well, that's the thing. Those are easy platitudes to spew, and they're right. But when you follow that up by completely dividing, by setting you and Baez apart from the rest of the team, that's not helping. So,
No, no. I mean, all he had to do in that last statement is we have to win as a team, but also I cannot ask, you know, or we don't, like just everyone play like the veterans do or something like that versus alienating people like
mhm,
Rizzo and Bryant and Hayward. I
yeah,
mean, or like we just need to get some people up to
the entire
speed.
pitching staff, or
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it just is. I don't even know what you say, but uh,
it doesn't
we
look
just
good.
it doesn't look good. We just have to play as a team and work a little harder out there. Fine, whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that,
it's
and
an
you
easy.
could say the rest of this shit behind closed doors, but it's out there now, and
Yeah, it's just. I think it's more. Just reading into it, I think, like I said, I think it's a sign of a fractured locker room where there is no central leadership. Everyone, there's leadership. Everyone's trying to be a different leader, and no one's pulling in the same direction. I think we've, you know, this sucks to bring up, but it's also emblematic of the divide over being vaccinated or not. You could look at that as being a dividing line where the clear leaders on the non-vaccinated side were Hayward and Jake Arrieta and Anthony Rizzo. And I don't know for a fact that Contreras and Baez are vaccinated, but I have a feeling they are.
we know Baez is. He did a PSA here for it,
Oh yeah.
so
So yeah, I mean that might even be a dividing line. So what there's a lot of shit going on. Willson coming out and talking about it publicly in this way isn't going to help matters. Maybe it doesn't fucking matter at all, and he's got to say what he's got to say. Um, that doesn't really feel like a team leader to me at that point. If that's the direction he wants to go, he also followed up with some interesting tweets. I don't know if you saw these. He's not a prolific tweeter, but he did have a few tweets this week, kind of out of the blue. One was kind of a cryptic thumbs up at exactly 12 midnight, I believe Sunday night. Maybe it was Saturday night. I'm not sure. Before he was benched for for his comments before the Sunday game, which ended up being rained out.
mercifully.
Yeah. The other tweet. This is. I think I have this. Do you have that tweet
No, I don't have the
handy?
tweets. I just had the quote.
The one about Taurus. This is a strange one. And this is not necessarily fair because it could be just a language barrier thing. But he wrote Taurus semicolon will say things to your face, common, not on your back. So I think what he's trying to say is he a Taurus?
That's
So
what I know the tweet you're talking about now.
so
That's what I took from it.
okay.
Okay,
So
and I went,
Tauruses will say things to your face, not to their back. So I think what he was going after there is people were giving him shit for his comments, and he was going back on social media saying, "No, I said all these things to everyone's face, not just in this thing to the media." So, which is what I don't, we'll never know if that's true or not true, but I guess he felt the need to go onto Twitter to say that. So I don't know. It's just more layers of how fucked up the Cubs are right now and how dysfunctional that whole scene is. So
and they got a pretty. I mean, what looks like a pretty easy go of it coming right out of the All-Star break. So I mean, you got two series with Arizona, and
yeah, I mean that's what you'd hope that the leadership of this team could be looking at and saying, you know what, we went through the worst spell we possibly could. let's fucking get it together. And we've got this opportunity against some shit teams. We can turn this around as fast as it fell apart. And
Exactly.
I guess the record is gonna spell that out, whether that's possible or not. But seems like an opportunity that they might be missing because they are seems like they're fighting in house almost. So I mean, we declared the end of the Cubs golden era, or I did last week. So
I'm with you. I think no matter what happens, it's and especially this was I think just the gasoline on the fire. These
yeah,
comments.
well, that's why they're just unnecessary. That's exactly what they are. I mean, as much of a dumpster fire that you could call the Cubs heading into the All Star break, Contreras' comments were just gasoline on it. So, I mean, I love Contreras, but that just it doesn't seem like the right way to approach things.